Dear eminences, fathers, brothers and sisters, and organizers of this conference, so it's my pleasure to be here. And I have been thinking these days about the main question posed by this conference, how the spirit of Nicaea can make difference to the Church in the third millennium. And today I would like to introduce a book, a collective effort, one could say conciliar effort of 49 scholars. But before that, I would like to get back to our main topic of Nicene Council and conciliarity or synodality. So here are some quotations from Patriarch Bartholomew, who called Council of Nicaea a special kind of synodal reality and structure, emphasizing that it transcended from local to ecumenical. He also emphasized the importance of Nicaea for the adoption of the sacred symbol of faith, the creed. And this is something I can relate to as an Orthodox Christian who recites the Nicene Constantinopolitan Creed every liturgy, so it is part of our daily life. And thirdly, he emphasized the rediscovery of the true identity of the undivided Church and the road to unity. And as many of you are aware, the joint commissions between the Orthodox and the Roman Catholic churches have also emphasized synodality as the fundamental quality of the Church. It is interesting that in one of the documents, synodality and conciliarity are used interchangeably, so these words should not mislead us. And so we are talking about a kind of a broader vision of synodality that includes different concepts, of which I will talk today. And this is again something I would like to refer to the work of the group of St. Irenaeus, some members of which are present here, who have drawn attention to the need for the hermeneutics of terminology, of theological language that is used for the synodality and the process of decision-making in the Church, and the broader vision of Church as koinonia, as community, as Catholic and Soborna Church. But here is more to the point about the volume which I have mentioned, the volume that is now available for pre-orders. It is a long effort. I mean, it says 3 years, but actually it is longer than that. And it took an effort of, as I said, more than 49 contributors, because there were people who reviewed the original proposal, and those who reviewed their individual contributions. And so it is indeed a collective effort of people coming from different backgrounds in terms of their confessional, jurisdictional, and theological worldview, theological views. So I am going to go through the content of this volume, so to save time, because I believe that this book shows that conciliarity is at the heart of the Orthodox self-understanding. So from the early ecumenical councils, this practice has shaped doctrine, governance, and communal life in parishes, monasteries, in churches. But what the volume, as you can see, focuses on is modern period. It is modern era where conciliarity took a new meaning for Orthodox Christians. So, yes, here is, sorry about some spelling. Yeah, the need for the volume. So, as I said, the centrality of conciliarity to Orthodox tradition, lack of comprehensive English language scholarship, and it's an invitation to a further conversation about the diversity of conciliar practices, diversity of understandings, not just within the Orthodox Church, but also within our sister churches. So the main thesis of the volume was that during the period of modern period, 18th and 19th century, conciliarity has come through a kind of a redefinition. So the a paradigm, we call it as a shift, a paradigm shift in Orthodox ecclesiology under the influence of democratic ideas, romantic theology. The view of the church changed from the top-down hierarchy to a spirit-filled communion of believers. And this is similar to the notion of people of God that Vatican II has emphasized. So we don't say that this was a new idea, but it was a kind of rediscovered and newly emphasized. So the new subject of the church, the people have came to the scene, and you can see here a Serbian council in Habsburg Empire that had representatives of the laity, and actually it has functioned as a substitute of political authority at the era. So here is just a few words about terminology. The terminological challenges of this volume were quite obvious. I already have mentioned the word, the third mark of the Nicene Constantinopolitan Creed, Catholic, is translated as Saborny in the Slavic languages, and it gave life to different terms like Sabornost, Sabornizovanie, Sabornopravnost, Sabornisches, Sabornicitate, and these different terms in Romanian and Slavic languages obviously have kind of different connotations theologically, so it becomes kind of elastic concept which includes both Catholicity and conciliarity. And Father Andrew Louth had regarded this not as a problem but actually as an advantage for theological thinking. And so we explore this terminological issues in the volume, but we have chosen the term conciliarity because it seemed neutral for all other languages. So, okay, these are main focuses of the volume. First, we look at Orthodox conciliar tradition. Second part looks at the theological vision, and the third part looks at practice. So history, theology, and practices, something which is similar to this conference where yesterday we looked deeply into theology, today we look more into synodal practices. So the historical overview starts with an overview of councils in the early church in the Byzantine Empire. How am I doing this time? Is it until 35, right? Yes, so we have an introduction to the whole volume from Professor Michel Stavroux, who looks at the ecumenical councils and also focus on the monastic tradition, an article by Anna Briskina, and it goes up to the Council of 1917-1918 in Moscow. So the idea of this chapter is of this part is to present the history of Orthodox conciliarity and to show that there was something like can be called conciliar renaissance. Well, it has been called conciliar renaissance by Paul Valliere, and so we focus on the 20th century Renaissance, looking at the conciliar process starting, pan-Orthodox process starting from 1902 and 1904 encyclical of the Ecumenical Patriarchate and through the 20th century. This section also looks at the gender issues which have been raised already by at the Council of 1917-1918 in Moscow, and we focus on kind of modern gender battles, as it's called, by Nadezhda Belikova. The Council of Crete, the Holy and Great Council or Synod of Crete of 2016 has been evaluated by one of its participants, Bishop Maxim Vasilevich. There is a very important article about the Orthodox diaspora and its role in conciliarity. So I'm going to part 2. This is the theological contributions, and you can see some familiar faces here. The late Metropolitan Zizulas, Khomykov, Stanislaw, Mother Maria Skoptsova, just to name a few. Nicholas Afanasyev, who has been introduced by Anastasia Wooden. These are the theological articles focusing on the role of sobornost and conciliarity in the thinking of major theologians of the 20th century, well, 19th and 20th century. I don't know how to get rid of this one. Okay, never mind. What I found really interesting is that the authors of this volume, I'm not myself a theologian, but I have discovered that there is plenty of unexplored material, unexplored works, theological works that have not been approached from the point of view of sobornost and conciliarity. I don't know how to. Okay, yeah, easy. And also, as you can see from some of the titles, there was an attempt to address the problem of the church as a conciliar body through political theology, through topical issues of today, you know, like egalitarian and totalitarian kind of implications of some interpretations of sobornost that could be even termed as toxic sobornost, as many of us aware, are also happening today. So these are attempts to engage with the issues of today. And in contextual approaches, we look at women theologians and their approach to conciliarity, ecology, mission, and the problems of current paradigm change in Orthodox theology. So the last part, I have to really rush through my presentations, looks at local conciliarities, focusing on the local traditions that could be called as laboratories of conciliarity, especially in borderlands, in the areas of the mission, Alaska, Japan, Ukraine, Transylvania. There have been very important processes taking place in terms of practices, and these deserve to be studied. And we also included experience of non-Chalcedonian Oriental churches, including the Malankara Church and the African churches, to look at the native concepts of conciliarity, such as Ubuntu, and I've noticed there will be a paper on that. And this kind of makes us think about that our terminology is not really, shouldn't be exclusive and close to the experience of the churches elsewhere, outside the European and traditional kind of Orthodox geographical region. So this was very mind-opening for us to look at these different milieus where conciliarity has been developed. And one could call it conciliarity from below, so the experience of parishes, youth movements, the work on the ground, and even what we have today as digital conciliarity, or digital world that presents challenges to conciliarity, as Jacob Leysen addressed in his paper. So, and finally, there is a section on ecumenical engagement focusing on the reflections on Moscow Council at the Second Vatican Council, and how the Roman Catholic Church had evaluated experience of the Orthodox Church's conciliarity in the Anglican tradition, and the dialogue between Oriental and Eastern Orthodox churches. So I would kind of get to my conclusions, and the practical and theological implications of this volume are, of course, manifold. So we need to look at conciliarity as a central for not just Orthodox but Christian theology, as a way of life, a spiritual practice, not just decision making. So there has to be emphasis on communion, dialogue, discernment, and the Church, as it always responds to history and culture, needs to continue to respond through shared listening, and that's what we are doing here today. So, so the volume is an invitation to further dialogue and discussion, and I believe that there is a really important field emerging in both church history and theology that focuses on conciliarity or synodality, as we can term it, but looking from broader perspective. So this is all I wanted to say about conciliarity and spirit of Nicaea today. So, and thank you very much for your attention.